All right, good evening, brothers, sisters, and gendernormous sisters. It's time for some more Pirates of the Geek Vortex. So let's go ahead and jump on in and see who all we've got today. Hello there, everybody. All right, let's see. So we've got 3 of us right now. Okay. I'll need to finagle things a little bit here. So, all right. So how have you guys been? While I do that. Okay. Ah, okay. I can imagine that just. And how have you been, Caden? Always so specific, you. All right. Everything resized here. There we go. That's better. I think. Pretty much. Oh, did that not? Oh, gosh darn it. No, it didn't. Why did you? No, that's there. Hang on a moment. Let me see what's going on here. That's weird. All right, let me take a look try something here. Okay, somebody say something. Nope, still not doing it. Why are you not? Okay, that's weird. Okay, let me see here what's going on with that. Monitor and output, yeah, that's going proper. Oh, let me see something here. I bet I know what's going on. At least I think I might know what's going on. Let's go to sound settings here. All right, let me make sure that this is... Okay, so it is going through there, all right. For some reason, it's not going from Discord to... Oh, wait. Did Discord reset that? Oh, I bet it did. I bet it did. All right, hang on. Oh, a bunch of stuff got reset. Yeah, see, it's going to default directly to there. It needs to go to there. All right, now try saying something.
Something.
There we go. That's better. No, I updated the updated the Elgato Wave link program. So when I restarted my Discord was like, hey, so we don't know, it basically it like refreshed everything. So it like refreshed the all of the inputs and all the outputs. So Discord didn't know that it was still supposed to be going through to the Wavelink voice chat. Bunch of technical jargon, basically.
And yet AI is supposed to take over.
Yeah.
Let's face it, Skynet would reset in the middle of a war and wonder why everyone was so angry at it.
Right,
the freaking T-1000 would be like, its limb through someone, suddenly reset and go, oh, hello, how can I help you? My limb appears to be stuck inside your torso. Which is especially funny if you've been watching the T-1000 clips since they added him to MK1 recently.
Okay, there we go. That's better. All right, so everybody should be able to hear all the rest of you guys.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. Yay! Gotta love it when, technology just fucking doesn't work, doesn't want to work. All right, now we can transition over to there, and hey, we've got everybody. All right, let me change my lighting setup. I just realized something. That's better. I don't need my background. I don't need as much light when I'm doing this, so. All right. There we go. Much better. All right. So today's topic actually came up for me Tuesday. As I was trying to finish Cyberpunk 2077, specifically one of the Phantom Liberty endings. I don't know how many of I don't know if either of you have played Cyberpunk 2077 or not.
No, but I did devour a few Wikipedia articles of it.
Okay. So it is a a first-person shooter, action role-playing type game. You can build your character however you want. And my particular character in this run was like a stone-cold killer, like a stone-cold killing robot, basically. Like as much cybernetic stuff as I could possibly fit on them without them potentially going berserk. Maxed out as far as, a sure shot with a pistol, a sniper rifle, whole bunch of stuff. I got to the end run, what I think is the end run of the Phantom Liberty DLC. And all of a sudden, it turned into Alien Isolation. And that's not hyperbole. That is literally it. Like, they introduced this big robot controlled by a rogue AI that even has this little attachment that'll snake around and snap at you and stuff like that. And the only thing you can do is run through corridors, duck and hide behind things, and wait for it to pass by. As I said on the live stream Tuesday, I'm like, okay, I did not buy Alien Isolation. I have not bought Alien Isolation. I do not plan on ever buying and playing Alien Isolation. I do not like those kinds of games. That is not what I bought Cyberpunk 2077 and the Phantom Liberty DLC for. Why the fuck am I forced to play a game that isn't Cyberpunk 2077? It's like that's you have a good game, make your game, make everything about your game, not hey, we're gonna try and wedge in somebody else's game. It's like it was just like, okay, nope. Finally, once I realized that, you know, I have an incredibly one of the most powerful guns in the game, and I can't fight it. I'm like, no, fuck this. Like I didn't sign up for this game. I did not sign up for that game, and I don't appreciate being forced to play that game. And that was the point where I'm like, you know, there's a lot of situations where, you know, they do this type of thing. They're like, oh, hey, so, you know, we're going to introduce these mechanics. You're going to play 60 plus hours of a game with these mechanics. And then, like, in one of the last missions, they're like, hey, so ignore everything you've done for 60 plus hours. Here's something completely different, some completely new, completely disconnected from everything else you've done. Have fun. Like that is like you know, going out with the intention to score, buying somebody drinks, schmoozing them like crazy, getting them into bed, and then shitting the bed.
I mean, they might be into that.
In this instance, no. Very much no. That was the point where I'm like, well, I'm sure the other guys can come up with stuff, you know, come up with that. So why don't we make that our topic for tonight? It sounded like on the Discord channel that Caden had one.
Oh, mine came from last year, but it just makes me weep. Apparently there's a new directive from the Netflix creative team to their creators, which reads, in order to keep our audience's attention span, we now want our characters to announce what they're doing so viewers can have Netflix in the background and follow along without missing plot points.
What?
Yeah. We took Show Don't Tell and we just pissed on that grave, didn't we?
Yeah, it's like at that point, why do you have a visual component to anything?
Yeah, just okay, Netflix, make radio plays. Radio plays. Done.
Yeah.
We have that on WEFT. We literally have radio theater. It's a thing. It has an audience.
It's been a thing since before television was created.
Says, here's an example from their #1 hit movie, Irish Wish, starring Lindsay Lohan, which already is a bad sign.
That's one of
Lohan
their #1
says,
hits.
Yeah. Lohan tells her lover James, quote, "We spent a day together. I admit it was a beautiful day filled with dramatic vistas and romantic rain, but that doesn't give you the right to question my life choices. Tomorrow I'm marrying Paul Kennedy." To which he responds, "Fine, that will be the last of you see of me, because after this job I'm off to Bolivia to photograph an endangered tree lizard."
Jesus.
What?
That sounds like some bad fan fiction I used to read in high school.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
now they've
that is
decided they're going to create a micro genre. What the fuck is a micro genre?
I think they're trying to reinvent the subgenre.
Yeah, but they're calling it casual viewing, which is movies and TV shows that go down best when the viewer is not paying attention.
What? What?
No, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to do the mindless shit that they have been pouring out for ages.
Yeah, I'm like, on the one hand, it almost sounds innocuous. It's like, yeah, I don't have to completely pay attention. This could be like a podcast I put on in the background. But hey, guys, I have news for you. If I want a podcast to put on in the background, I can go and get free ones. I'm not paying fucking, what is Netflix up to now? Like 18, like 20 a month?
No, they're up. I was gonna say, if you want ad free, it's over $20. I know that.
Yeah, so like, I'm not paying a subscription just for something I'm gonna put on in the background and never pay attention to. Come on.
Yeah, basically they're wanting to make like movie versions or detailed versions of like, it's the type of thing that I think of when that I do with like American Dad on Hulu or on Disney or whatever it is, whichever one it's on. It's like I can just throw that on. I can do whatever. I can work in Blender, do whatever I want to do. And it's like, I know what's going on the show, but it's like, I don't have to be like staring at it to see if I missed any Easter eggs or anything, because I really don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like a movie that I've seen 1,000 times.
But yeah, no wonder they're doing so fucking badly that they have to. Oh well, we're increasing our rates yet again.
But see, there's still more, because a lot of people were pointing out, okay, well, if we're doing the movies that I don't have to pay attention to, I can only imagine what the reading industry is going to be like. Well, to answer that, in the late 2024 and all in 2025. The latest trend has been AI that will take books and simplify them for you.
Oh no. Oh no. Editors have been having to do that in reverse more times than I care to count.
Yeah, some dude's like, I took, what was it, Pride and Prejudice, and I read it in 5 minutes. I was like, Pride and Prejudice? In 5 minutes.
The War and Peace speed run. I am not looking forward to it. Romance of the Three Kingdoms. As a light-hearted... I don't know where to go with this.
I mean, it's not surprising. You know, you look at like... Okay, look at the so with the JFK files finally being released, or supposedly finally being released, Biden released just about everything before with just basically like a few specific names redacted, I think. Joe Rogan, his response was, hey, so what do they say? Has anybody sent it? Has anybody just pushed it through Gronk or AI and, just gotten a what does the AI say about it? It's like that's his idea of getting information these days, is just shove it into AI, let it parse it down, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
That is pathetic.
I mean, I was reading through them the other night, and so far, everything I've seen is just standard 1950s Red Scare bullshit. Like, they're saying, oh, hey, Oswald went to Helsinki, and then something about Oslo, and he met with the communist... What is the word I want? Consulate over there, and then he got married to a Soviet woman, and that Soviet woman was allowed to come back to the States with him, and that is a strange situation. We need to look in how many times does that actually get allowed. Is he actually a Russian spy now? Is he being controlled? Is she his handler? And then out of nowhere, the fucking Gestapo show up? I was like, why is the Gestapo here?
When you say the Gestapo, I think of, a country that was basically annihilated, or a government that was annihilated 18 years before that assassination. So,
Yeah.
what?
I'm trying to find the paper with the Gestapo in it again. Because I don't think it was even like Oswald had anything to do with the Gestapo. Like they just show up for no reason.
See, yeah, Gas Giant's right with the, you didn't really read the book at that point. You read the back of the dust cover. I think more they're trying to get it like, oh, hey, give me the crib notes of this. But instead of like buying the crib notes, they're getting AI to just pump it out for them.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. According to captured Gestapo documents, Oswald joined the German Communist Party on May 32nd. What?
Side note, incoming Nightkind.
Yay!
Okay.
It had some membership number and owned a lending library in Berlin.
Okay, this is beginning to sound like the life and times of Ernest Hemingway.
So now we're not just calling him a commie. He's a Nazi commie.
Communazi? I mean, damn.
Yeah, that's just fucking weird.
I was like, is this just the CIA being paranoid and throwing shit at the wall again?
Do you remember when they...
Probably, yeah.
Couldn't they just go back to giving people cocaine and seeing what happens?
No, I'd rather the LSD experiments again.
I just want to see the CIA accidentally create Snowflame. Is that wrong?
Yes, because they'd fuck it up.
You fuck up Snowflame. He's got nowhere left to go but up.
It's the CIA. They'd find a way to fuck it up. Now, if the NSA was doing it... There's a lot of stamps on this.
But no, so I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, can I come up with another idea? And I did figure out one that, to me, just kind of like, it really just kind of ruined the series. And that's Terminator Dark Fate.
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen 3 Terminator films in total. 1, 2, whichever one has Christian Bale playing John Connor and Helena Bonham Carter showing up in the beginning of the movie.
I think you're talking about Salvation.
Okay.
The one that's set solely in the future war.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Salvation. But for me, Dark Fate was just, Dark Fate was where they really kind of just screwed everything up. And ironically, that's when, oh God, what's his name? The guy who originally did it, James Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
That was when he came back to it, and he's like, no, I'm gonna straighten everything up because y'all fucked it all up. And he got rid of Skynet, so now there's this new big alien or big machine thing, and it's like all the advancements of the Terminators can kind of sort of be explained in canon. Because inevitably somebody saw them and is going to get the idea, hey, that's cool, let's do that. Like with the T-1000 to the TX, I think it was like, okay, they saw the liquid metal version of the Terminator, and they're like, hey, that's cool, okay. That gives me an idea. We could do, we're gonna set aside some research and basically kind of like denote this as, hey, maybe this is something worth looking into. Can we actually do this? So that information, that idea, and the basis for the research is already there when Skynet takes over. And they're like, oh, okay, well, let's focus on that then. It's kind of an extension of T2, which was, hey, they had the original Terminator stuff, so that leapt Skynet's available technology forward by, a few decades, if not a few hundred years. And it's like, hey, yeah, there you go. You can have a T1000 at the, by the time you're sending things back into the past. But to just say, no, we're just here's just a brand new thing. This mysterious new AI completely destroyed Skynet. And it's like, wait, what? Huh? Like, that's just, you're really broad stroking a lot of shit there. I mean, it would have been more interesting if they had said, hey, you know what? Skynet's still around, but now Skynet's actually working with the humans against this one.
I liked when they introduced the new system, and they were like, haha, it's not Skynet, we won. And then it goes sentient, and they're like, it's fucking Skynet.
Yeah.
Although that movie also sucked because I just don't like the idea of John Connor becoming a Terminator.
Which one was? Oh, Genesis, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that was the only way that they were going to move forward, was like, hey, you know what? We have new technology. We can't just be, just fighting against humans isn't enough. They're going to win. So, hey, you know what? What if we just, what if we join with humans? And that would have been a good point for Cameron to have said, hey, okay, so Skynet tried to just take over John Connor, take over humanity. That didn't work. So Skynet realizes, hey, there's something else there. Let's actually work with humanity and work together. But he just wanted to erase everything that everybody had done after T2 and start fresh.
It's like, I get the urge to do that, but at the same time, it winds up being clumsy. Right behind, it was all a dream sort of plot lines.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the worst part is, he literally had the perfect vehicle to do it, because the entire basis of Terminator is fucking time travel. And he still screwed it up. If you want to erase everything from T2 on, just have them travel back to T2 and destroy whatever event branched off into T3, and then fuck off back home.
That is... How bad of spoilers are we going for here for other series?
What series?
Night Watch. Night Watch and Day Watch. 2 films. Russian. Supernatural. Basically, forces of evil and forces of good have police that keep tabs on each other when the other gets out of line.
Okay.
Modern day, set in modern day Moscow.
Okay.
It's
go for it.
Pretty good. So there's a giant build-up that, the whole first movie starts with the guy making a bizarre pact that almost lands him on Team Evil. But things go awry, and, he winds up on Team Good. As the 2 movies progress, towards the end of the second movie, he basically gets an opportunity to time travel and undo that whole bargain, and basically undo all the events of every movie you just saw. To be filed next to the giant time wipes that have been happening in the last 3 Mortal Kombat games.
I mean, the problem, well, here's the problem with saying, hey, we're just going to use time travel and erase everything that happened after T2, is that's what T2 was supposed to do. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it wasn't a self-contained, hey, we got rid of everybody who ever saw the T-1000. So again, the idea was planted instead of, you know, and instead of, oh God, what was the name of the corporation that made the Terminators or made Skynet?
Something Dyne.
Yeah.
Cyberdyne.
Cyberdyne, that was it. So instead of Cyberdyne, it was, hey, you know, we're forward about a decade or so, and it's the military government basically making an AI that can police the, you know, that's supposed to take care of any internet threats or anything, and oh shit, that becomes Skynet. And of course, the government would probably kind of hear about the T-1000 from the 90s and be like, "Oh, hey, so yeah, is that really a possibility? Could we make something like that?" And kind of have a file on it. So yeah, once Skynet takes over, they're like, "Oh, hey, so why don't we make one that actually can, you know, fabricate actual like plasma weapons and flamethrowers and stuff instead of just, you know, blade weapons and stuff like that." I mean, James Cameron kind of wrote himself into a corner as far as trying to erase everything, but because it's like, no, it's going to happen. It's, you know, Skynet's going to learn from the past. There's always going to be stories, so it's always going to be ahead of us. Whatever it sends back into the past, it's going to come up with something much worse in the future. Oh God, Cyberdyne is a subsidiary of OCP?
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be bad.
That's what I was about to say. I remember that timeline where it was OCP was working on Skynet the entire time, made a huge leap when they made Murphy RoboCop, and then used part of his organic programming to make Skynet.
And if you play MK11, you can have the T-800 fight Murphy.
See, I don't know if using Murphy would be a good source for making Skynet, though.
Well, they didn't use
Murphy
his
is like one of the,
They didn't use his personality. They just used the imprint.
The human.
I think it was more of the.
Computer?
It was more of the fact that it's another one of those writing things where, oh, if we had used any other human, it wouldn't have worked because they can't deal with the cybernetics. But Murphy has accepted the cybernetics as part of himself, so now we can make a Terminator because the cybernetic will look at the organic and be able to be like, oh, hey, this is still me, and it won't try to kill itself.
Yeah, but that was the whole point of Murphy. It was because he was a good cop. It was because of who he was. It was his personality, not just, you know, so you couldn't, realistically, they shouldn't have been able to differentiate his personality from that.
I don't know. I never actually read the comic. I just like know the basics.
Well, I'm going off of what they did with RoboCop 2, where it was like, hey, yeah, they kept trying to do another RoboCop, but nobody would accept it. That's because Murphy's first thought was protect the innocent. That was his personality. That's why he was able to do it. It was able to work with him and nobody else. At least up until they did the drug dealer, the drug kingpin that was like, hey, I just want more drugs.
Yeah.
I want to live so that I can do
Is
more
Geek.
drugs. So, you have any examples of situations where you felt that, you know, of somebody kind of going along and then just completely taking a left turn and fucking everything up, Ras?
Okay. We are, in a way, we're calling it jumping the shark. In a way.
Okay.
Because it was pretty far in the happy days when it finally cemented that, yeah, this is just about Fonz and crazy adventures instead of the Cunningham family. Babylon 5 gradually... That one's an arc, because I didn't like the direction sometimes in Season 1. I didn't like the first captain, Sinclair. I liked Boxleitner when he came on and took over as lead. And then as we move on, the plot just seemed to turn into, like, how do I put this? Like, Action Pack had taken over production.
Okay.
And not the good aspects. Like the, we're going to have ham-fisted, convoluted plot lines that don't have a whole lot of depth anymore. Some did, but it felt like as the show went on, I was seeing less and less. I know that part of this was because of their sudden network switch. And the fact that they didn't think they were going to get a 5th season. So, I know why it happened. Other than that, there are video games where I'm like, the series is good right up until something. Castlevania is too easy because that's honestly just a completely different series once we get into the whole Lords of Shadow thing, so I wouldn't count it. When Yahtzee called that God of War Teutonic Mythology Edition, he wasn't far off. So...
I mean, they kind of did the same thing with Star Trek Enterprise.
I actually didn't catch much of Enterprise. I saw the first episode and I'm not drawn in.
Well, the first 2 seasons of it were, you know, were more self-contained episodes. You might have a 2-parter that's like, oh, hey, so we're dealing with this and now we're cleaning everything up. But it was a lot more along the lines of the original Star Trek and the original seasons of the first few seasons of Next Generation, where it was like, you know, each episode is supposed to be a self-contained story. Start of the 3rd season, all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're going to have the entire 3rd season just be like one long, massive story. Throwing in elements of the elements of Voyager because they're in this unique part of space that nobody really knows much about and stuff like that. And what I think really just kind of baffled me for the longest time, and to this day I have no idea what the fuck they were thinking. But their intro song was kind of heavy. In the first 2 seasons, it was kind of melodramatic. It was kind of heavy. It was kind of had this slightly dark feeling to it. And then in season 3 and season 4, the more dramatic, the darker, the more serious, the more, you know, consequences type seasons. All of a sudden, the song was kind of reworked so that it was very upbeat and very uplifting and very happy. And it's like, but you're trying to prevent a war. You have to go into the, you know, you're having the crew go into this part of space nobody really knows about, trying to stop a war after the species just attacked Earth for no goddamn reason. But your theme song is much more happy and lighthearted now. Like, this doesn't work together. What the hell were you guys thinking?
It's the shining light of hope.
2 anime series now suddenly come to mind. The one that managed to correct their landing at the last minute I'll mention first, that is Nadia's Secret of Blue Water. Sudden change in art, animator, and writer for several episodes in a row. Last minute pivot back to original staff and everything for the last 3 or 4 episodes. This is back in the days of 26 episode season. Typical series is just 1 season. Self-contained, meant to end there, fine. But then there's another one. And I love this series, I really do, but I have to admit, it got rushed. It could have been it was good, but it started out so strong that it started to feel like a letdown towards the end, and that is Escaflowne, 1993. I started watching this one in 97 because the local anime club here in Champaign, basically, we got our Digisubs real quick. Not Digisubs, fan subs. Just a few years before the whole thing came out over here. I still have copies of all that somewhere on bootleg VHS tapes. It was originally slated as a 39-episode series. It was very steampunk meets magic with giant robots.
Of course, you have to have the giant robots.
This was enough of an original take on how giant robots worked that it didn't feel like a cliche. And it was the early 90s. We hadn't completely done it into the ground yet. Trends Z notwithstanding.
I don't know. I mean,
I know. Think 32 years ago. With incredibly good animation for the time and a soundtrack done by the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra. It was a pretty big deal, and it was a very good series, and if I had any qualms with the art at the time, it was, why does everyone in this anime have a Doonesbury nose? But the problem was that they were originally slated for 39 episodes, a season and a half. They were told around episode 12 to 14, oh no, you're only getting 26 episodes. You're a 1-season series. They're suddenly having to compact 26 episodes worth of stuff into 13, and characters start acting irrationally and, more importantly, out of character for themselves to advance plot in convoluted ways.
Yeah. I remember. I see the whole thing with the robots, though. As far for me, I remember so many giant robot things from the 80s that I'm like, yeah, it was kind of played out by the time we got to that anyway.
Yeah. The Escaflowne, the idea is the robots are magical clockwork. They're reasonably bigger than the human pilot, and it merges into you and melds under your skin, and so at that point your actions inside the core match what you're doing on the outside and take enough damage and it will kill you. And at the time, in 1993, this felt pretty damned original. There was also an opening scene, episode 2. The lead character, he is barely proficient with his new mech, basically. It's called a Gaimelef in the series. He has just gotten the magical artifact he needs to animate it. He is barely holding on. He is adjusting to the thing. A giant robot from an evil army is about to hack his head off. And that's when a human on foot with a giant big-ass sword comes out of nowhere and chops the arm off of the evil robot. And it's done with just such wonderful fanfare and direction that it's just like, this character that does it, he only lives in that episode. He dies quickly enough.
Well,
but
yeah.
He becomes one of the most well-known characters of the series.
You'd have to kill a character like that off pretty quickly.
You did. He becomes the Sarah Kingdom of Escaflowne.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, you can't have just a regular human that's that powerful, that has that much ability, that would make all the magical robots pointless at that.
And he dies sacrificing himself, because of course he does. And if you haven't ever seen Escaflowne, either the series or the movie, the two are separate continuities. I honestly recommend both. To those of you in our audience, Escaflwne. Unless I've somehow forgotten to spell. Or Vision of Escaflowne. It is technically an isekai.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what that is, but
Isekai
A
is
type
where,
of story in which a character is somehow brutally offed, only to wake up and find themselves in another world.
off or teleported or any number of things. Kid Video would be an American example from the 80s, or Captain N. Or
That's
The
one of
New
those-
Adventures of He-Man in 1990, technically.
or apparently the what they're talking what they're suggesting the Amazon He-Man might be.
I mean, a really good example comes from heavy metal.
Yes. But it's usually someone from our world winds up in a fantasy world. Usually.
And sometimes it's great, and then other times you get novels like The Rising of the Shield Hero or Redo of Healer.
Other times you get a classic that we don't see as an isekai now, like Peter Pan.
Well, see now, Peter. I don't know. I don't think Peter Pan would count.
They started off in their normal world. They're suddenly in a completely different area where the rules don't apply. There are hints that people like Captain Hook might be from England. But
See, the real kicker is that Wendy and John and them, they don't count as an isekai. They just count as the journey. But depending on how you see Peter's story, it would count as an isekai.
Well, it could be viewed as that way, but that's down to interpretation. There's nothing explicit about it. It's not beyond the shadow of a doubt. So it's kind of like, well, you could make that argument, but somebody could just look at you and say, well, you're reading too far into it. And both would have to be equally, both would have equal weight, because there's no way to prove one way or the other.
then there's reverse isekai. Character from a fantasy world winds up in our world. One of my favorite examples of this is Devil is a Part-Timer, but the 87 live-action He-Man could be another. A particular favorite of mine also is Uncle from Another World, where a guy in like late 80s, early 90s got isekai'd by near death. He's been in a coma for decades, wakes up, talks to his nephew, starts being able to, oh, I was in a magical world. No, you were in a coma. Performs magic. Nope, see, I was in another world. And his nephew was like, that's amazing, that's incredible. Yeah, that's great. Look, tell me, how is Sega doing as a game company while I've been under? If you have not seen Uncle from Another World, it is honestly hilarious. It is there purposely to break and brutalize every trope in the most sacrilegious manner possible. And it is thoroughly sponsored by Sega, because of course they sneak their old classic games everywhere in there that they can. Another one that throws the genre on its head is Gate, where a fantasy world invades the real world. And then the invasion's over and everyone's trying to normalize.
Okay, so Gamers is here, and he's hooking up his mic. So I've still got everything set up with the studio mode turned on, so I can readjust everything.
And we will apparently not have a night kind. Something busted her computer.
Okay. All right, that actually so I don't need to change. I'm not going to need to switch everything around because once gamers comes in, I can close out the little game window, and it'll still have us in the 4x4 square.
Okay.
I love how we never have both of them at the same time.
It's happened like a couple times, I think.
Yeah, it's happened a few times.
There was another one where it's funny that most of the ones I know are anime, but it's guy takes an aptitude test, one's given by the Japanese government, then is given have some tea, drinks tea, passes out, wakes up in a fantasy setting. An elven maid comes up to him and says, "Oh, hello there. You've woken up on our world. Why am I here? Because you passed an aptitude test, and apparently you are on salary by the Japanese government. Here, I'll show you your dragon." What? You are to be taught how to be a proper ambassador between our fantasy world and your Japanese government.
I do wonder with that idea. I mean, what American versions would count for that?
That's a good question.
Because I would make the argument that, oh, wow, we are suddenly dropping frames like mad.
I'm seeing it a little on my end too.
Not too bad. Like, I mean, we've dropped 2,000, so we're still solid. YouTube hasn't flagged it as saying, "Hey, we're something weird is going on," but yeah, we've only lost 1.2% of the total frames
bandwidth
for everything.
Okay.
So you're wondering what an American version of what looks like?
The Ecosai, or
The
however you
isekai?
pronounce it. Yes.
Isekai, yeah.
So
Oh,
what
fun fact.
would count and what wouldn't? So like, I would say, Wizard of Oz would.
Yes.
Yes,
Alice
Wizard of Oz
Wonderland.
counts.
Although
Alice
that's
in Wonderland
Britain and not
counts.
the US, but
This Game Rant article is absolute shit because they open it up saying Flash Gordon counts. No, it goddamn doesn't.
the fact that he is trying to do things like save the Earth in there, no.
Well, then,
Well,
because
that's-
he's not in a different world, he's just on a different planet.
Well, that was kind of actually what I was wondering. Was it's like, okay, so how far out does it have to be? A drastically different world from the one you left? I mean, technically,
Okay, so
the future would
technically,
be.
It's not a different world. It's a different reality.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could make the argument plane of existence, dimension.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make the argument that something like Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers would count.
A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court might be seen that way too.
Because it is a drastically different reality where, hey, weapons that were fantasy are reality. Yeah, it came about because of, normal research and stuff like that the character didn't see, but at what point do you say, well, that's yeah.
Raza Fawn is an interesting one. It's
Actually,
gone.
No, go ahead.
It shows that the main character, he just goes to sleep and wakes up 3 decades later. He went to sleep in normal Japan, wakes up in, oh hey, we've got a giant robot war going on, and you're the pilots, Japan. And while that would be weird enough, the whole thing about him is he remembers little details that when people ask him about how Japan used to be, they go, wait, you mean people used to put soy sauce on that? What?
And hello there, gamers.
Hello, I've been here for a while.
I know.
Oh, okay.
It's just we were in a
You just haven't
conversation
shut up
and
yet.
No, I don't know if you knew or not, that's all.
So there is actually a American comic that I forgot about because I only have the first volume of it. But it is the perfect example of what actually would happen if you were trapped in an isekai. It's got two different titles. The first one is I Hate Fairyland. The second one is Fuck Fairyland. It is about a girl who falls into the aforementioned fairyland when she's like 8, maybe 11 years old, and then gets stuck there for the next 30 years and never grows out of her 12-year-old body.
That would suck.
And that's the whole premise, is that she is so fed up and she is irritated. She's like, do you realize how much it sucks that I am stuck in this world where everybody is happy and colorful and so goddamn perky, and I am 40 years old, but physically I am 12? Oh no, never mind. She was 6.
Okay. I'm not sure if that's better or worse.
That's worse, because physically she's 6. Mentally.
Yes, but if she was like 12, she would be like eternally on the cusp of puberty.
Yeah, true.
That would be a whole hell of a lot worse. The only thing I think that would be even worse would be continually like at the very beginning stages of puberty. That would be I think worse. Because it's like, oh, okay, so my body's deciding to do nope, never mind. It's decided that it's not going to do that. Nope, no, it's back. Oh, yeah. The 6 would be bad, but yeah. 12, 13, yeah, that would be a lot worse, I think. Sorry, gamers, you said on the Discord that you had a few.
No, I got confused.
Okay.
I thought the topic. Well, you said the topic was you screwed it all up, so I thought we were talking about politics.
No.
Well, that's a.
No.
Thankfully, this week we are taking a break from that.
Well, for the most part, we're not directly
We're
just
trying.
like talking about it.
Yeah, we're trying to skirt around it because I think we all.
I don't
need a
know.
break at
I
this
don't
point.
know. I don't know what this we is. I'm not trying to skirt around anything.
There are many people up in this head.
I mean, you know,
I don't
starting
know.
off
I
good and
don't-
then screwing it up.
I
That's yeah.
do find that the Americans, because your media kind of censors a lot, or not. I don't know if censor is the right word, but doesn't tell you the full story.
We don't.
They sugarcoat it. They
Yeah.
sugarcoat it.
So, are you guys? I don't know if you guys watch the news or are you guys aware that Canada has severed all ties with the U.S. now and has opened relationships for trade with Europe? They've
Yep.
Our new prime minister has completely severed all relationships with the U.S. now, and they're not selling products at all anywhere to the United States ever again. They're actually talking about also making it so that Americans can't come into Canada. It's fucking crazy.
I
don't know.
mean, I get why he's doing it. I wish he wouldn't, but I completely understand. And I
mean,
only
hell.
knew because I get my news from the BBC, so it's a very different thing than most American news.
One of the reports from the U.S. Canadian border is more people are trying to smuggle eggs in from Canada than fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
We've reached
Yes,
that
because you're
point where people are like trying to smuggle eggs in, and they're like, yeah,
heard that.
we're still like, you know, maybe 40, 50 pounds of fentanyl in a year, but like the number of eggs being smuggled is like astronomical.
No, I heard that actually. I thought that was really funny because I guess your egg prices are through the roof now or something.
Yep.
I
Great
think
times being a vegan.
last time I looked, normal store, the store brand eggs that are usually the cheapest are about 50 cents per egg.
That's crazy. I know that for a dozen eggs where I am, it's about $2 to $3. And I've never ever had to pay more than that. So that's I can't wrap my head around the the prices that you guys are paying for that shit. It's crazy.
It's going to get worse because RFK has decided that he wants to let the current bird flu that has driven egg prices up ravage even further by taking its natural course and no preventative measures, believing that the birds that will survive will be the super birds.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
It's not, and by that example, we should let everyone contract polio and measles. But
he already wants to do that. He's already all for
we
that.
did that.
I just,
he's actively pushing for that.
I just feel like this could have all been avoided had Trump not been so dead set against Canada. Like like our politicians have tried time and again to deal with him and to negotiate with him, but he always kind of swats us aside and says, "Nope, this is the way it's going to be." So
that's why I swear he is going to cause Ukraine and Russia to drag more nations into the war. He will fuck this up that badly.
So yeah, just looking at eggs at the local Meyer store right now. Yeah, their eggs, the Meyer cage-free eggs, 24 count for $12. Ironically, Eggland's Best, the one that used used to be the most expensive brand, they're still like $8.89 for 24 eggs.
Either way, those are infinitely more expensive than what I remember before going vegan, and wow. I haven't looked at Costco, because again, I don't buy eggs, but
I'd be willing to bet they're the same, yeah. I think Eggland's Best hasn't raised their prices that much just because of the fact that they're more exclusive and don't, their chickens in general aren't like,
I feel so sorry for you guys and all the bullshit you guys are having to deal with that. That's insane.
The insane part is the number of people who are cheering this on and calling it a
I know. They're so brainwashed. I'm just like,
they're cheering it on. They're cheering it on up until it affects their life directly. Like they lose their federal job or they can't get their medication because their insurance or their VA insurance has been, nobody's taking the calls.
You reminded me of this guy who I read an article on. He was like a Trump supporter, MAGA supporter. And he was cheering on Trump, and then he lost his job because of Trump. And he's like, "Wait a minute, what? I didn't vote for this."
Yeah, you did.
He's like, "This is bullshit."
Well, some people are learning, and some people don't. Case in point, do you remember the couple that recently, their unvaccinated kid died of measles?
Yeah.
Oh God,
they made the right decision in doing that, even after his death. That has got to come with a child negligence death, like murder.
I think they live in Texas, which that qualifies for criminal child negligence in Texas.
Okay. It should. Note, you can barely mention abortion in Texas. Apparently, letting kids die of measles is fine.
That's crazy.
That's Texas.
Texas, we don't want to be part of the U.S. Of the nationwide electrical grid. Hey, our power's out. Can somebody come help us? No, we're still not going to join your national power grid. Hey, our power's out again.
Well, and they technically never joined the union.
When it came back up, it was insanely pricey. And Ted Cruz, their senator, was off, not even in the U.S. at the time.
Well, he only spent like a day or two in Cancun. Because once the blowback from that happened, and everybody's like, "Where the fuck's Ted Cruz?" Oh, he's taking his family to Cancun. He's like, I was just making sure that my family got there safe. I'm coming right back right now."
You know, the good thing about all these tariffs on Canada is, and so many politicians have said this, the news has said this, and I've seen it firsthand, is it's drawn Canadians together, and we are more patriotic than we ever were before. And that's the good thing, is we're just we're fully supporting Canadian produce now and everything like that. Most stores have already taken all of the American products off the shelves, or like shoved them behind and put the Canadian products forward to incentive for Canadians to purchase Canadian products only. The downside is it's going to cause a lot of financial issues for the US, because I guess I read somewhere that Canada was like one of the number one buyers of Jack Daniels, and we have like literally removed it from Canada. We're not allowing it to be sold in Canada. And the actual breweries have come forth and said that this is going to cause our places to close. You've literally just bankrupted us by not doing that, by not allowing this. And Canada is just like, oh well, talk to your president.
Yeah, and the amusing part, there's actually some amusing parts to that. Because for once, the extreme right-wing MAGA crowd is finally realizing that, hey, wait a second, but if you buy something and then destroy it, you're just, you've already spent the money. They finally latched onto that with their teeny tiny little brains after numerous videos of them shooting cases of Bud Light. But the problem is they didn't do their research this time, because Canada only pays for the bottles when they're sold out of the store. So they haven't actually bought. So all those cases of Jack Daniels, all those cases of bourbon that are sitting in the store stock rooms, Canada hasn't paid anything for those yet.
Yeah.
They only pay once they're sold. So if they're not going to sell them, they don't have to pay for them. They can just ship them back and be like, "Nope, we're not paying you for this."
Doing. That's exactly what they're doing, though. They're not. They're refusing. They're refusing to sell it in liquor stores and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's only going to get worse. They're going to go through all the different American alcohols and slowly boycott them, essentially. And it's crazy. And I mean, all this is from Trump, like not thinking and thinking, oh, well, for some reason he maybe had a nightmare about Canada or something. And
no,
and suddenly this is justification.
I can pretty well tell you what he wants. He wants to be the president that brings that signs the paperwork to recognize the 51st state. That is what his goal.
He's still after Canada? That's crazy.
He's after either Canada or Greenland. One of the two of them, in his mind, are absolutely going to become the 51st state. Which tells you everything you need to know about him, because it's only Canada, not Mexico. It's only Greenland, not, Panama. The other two places that he's after, he doesn't want anything south. I mean, hell, there's Puerto Rico, who has been a U.S. territory for how long?
The funniest thing I've ever heard come out of his mouth is he's trying to give this speech to Canadians, and he's like, oh, fight to become the 51st state in the U.S. And then he said, we'll even let you keep your national anthem. And it's like, do you think that's what we want? Do you think, oh, well, there we go. Now we'll become the 51st state. We can sing "Oh Canada" in the fucking U.S. Nobody cares about that.
For everyone out there,
it's about losing our free healthcare. It's about losing all the stuff we already have that makes us a sovereign country. It's not about freaking not singing "Oh Canada."
I just want to interject that for everyone who wonders why we don't like listening to Trump, it's because his voice annoys us and we'd rather see a transcript, and two, he's insane.
Yep. He is insane. He is very obviously racist. I mean, like I said, if he was really wanted, if it was just about getting the 51st state, he would try and get through the paperwork to get Puerto Rico to be the 51st state. But there's brown people there.
You know, I was going to say he only wanted the whites, but I didn't say it.
Why not? It's true. It's blatantly obvious.
Drop Candace Owens the minute he gets too annoyed by her.
I feel like he's more than just racist, though. I feel like he's heavily sexist, and he's homophobic. I mean, like, it's kind of all three combined.
He is the trifecta. He is... a good deal of my family Republican. They've stopped recently.
I was gonna say, I can think of only one person in the U.S. that's kind of popular or kind of well known in the U.S. that's actually manages to be even more insane than Trump, and that's Jesse Waters.
I don't think I know that name.
Yeah, I definitely don't know that name.
He's a Fox. He's the Fox News host. That's like always trying to talk about how the requirements for being manly. A man should never eat soup in public. A man should never drink from a straw because he has to purse his lips. A man should never cross his legs. And somebody brought up, but how are you supposed to drink a milkshake? Well, you're not supposed to drink a milkshake because milkshakes are for kids.
I can bring you one slightly crazier. One.
Okay.
MTG.
Who?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Ah.
And there's someone... Wait, who's the other one that's crazier than her and the two recently had a falling out?
Lauren Boebert.
Yes. Boebert might actually be crazier than MTG now that I think about it.
I'm not sure either of them are crazy enough to be like, no, a man should never do anything in public that causes him to purse his lips because that's effeminate.
I want to say this is too stupid for words, but I've had someone tell me, turn in your man card when they found out I could cook. And I have no fucking clue what that is about.
Oh my god. That's ridiculous.
Hey, do you know who the first people to learn how to cook were? The Neanderthals.
Jesus Christ.
You want to talk about going back to your primal roots, motherfucker?
Man running a barbecue in the backyard on the 4th of July is a hyper-masculine stereotype, and apparently that's too feminine for some people.
But I mean, that's grilling, that's not cooking. You can just burn shit and it still looks good.
That's crazy.
That's us right now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, you know that they were censoring themselves. It's not pursing your lips. It's you can't drink out of a straw because it makes you look gay.
What?
Oh no. Jesse Waters was not censoring himself. Jesse Waters is the person who said during the 2024 election that anybody who votes Democrat is automatically transgender. He does not censor himself. He comes up with the most insane stupid shit.
That reminds me. Do you remember someone in Congress was recently trying to put forward legislation to recognize Trump derangement syndrome as an actual mental disorder so you could institutionalize anyone who criticized Trump?
Uh-huh.
And what did that motherfucker get caught doing?
Yeah.
If I can say one of the most sacrilegious things I've said on this channel, because that was schadenfreude beyond a doubt that we're going to have.
Yeah, let's just say he would be real good friends with Epstein.
Yeah, I read about this actually.
And it's like every time that there's somebody somebody from the MAGA party, it's like, oh no, they're predators. They're grooming our kids. They wind up being the motherfuckers who are grooming and doing shit with kids. It's like, are you every goddamn time?
Airport bathrooms are becoming a cliche.
I personally love when we still fall back on the, it's too hard to explain to children. What are you explaining?
Yeah, it's... I'm trying to figure out what it is that they're oh no, it's too hard to just explain to children. It's like, yeah, it's if you're going into details that kids aren't going to understand, are not fit to understand, you are talking about the shit that's gonna be coming that's gonna be coming up in high school.
How do you explain to your child that is a man who thinks he's a woman? Your child is currently eating a fucking stick and saying that they're a horse. I think they'll understand.
Yeah. Okay, well, you have to understand, most of these types of people are, kids are supposed to be are just clay to be molded by the parents. That is what a child is to them. It is just an empty vessel that you are supposed to mold into an exact copy of you so that they can grow up to be better, so that they can, be the new version of you. It's kind of like the Jango Fett Boba Fett thing.
No, I think they're just tax write-offs.
I'm so glad I wasn't born in this timeline. Jesus. At least when I was a kid, my parents were like, yeah, do whatever. I remember they told us at a young age, if you want to, we're not gonna enforce religion on you, but if at any point you decide to seek religion, we're all for it. We're not gonna,
Yeah.
We're not gonna
my
hold
parents
it
did the same
against
thing.
or-
They're like, yeah, my parents did the same thing. They're like, hey, we're not going to push any religion on you.
No, yeah.
But we encourage you to ask questions, do research, see what feels right to you.
My family wanted me to remain Catholic, sort of. Dad is not denominational. Mom is technically Catholic. Around 15,
Yeah.
I just said, fuck it. And they just looked at my logic, my arguments, and said, yeah, we're not going to go against you on this one.
Yeah, what Gas Giant said there, as far as, kids understand a lot more than than adults think.
Kids have to remember facts about science, math, and history that most adults have forgotten years down the line. Or at
I
least
will
a
say one
frightening
thing,
number
though.
of adults have forgotten.
I mean, I remember being told in some of the math classes, oh, you'll need this information all the time in your life. And it's like, I don't think I've ever used the goddamn quadratic equation since I left fucking school.
No, it hasn't come up. I mean, even algebra. Like, we just need basic mathematics for most of our life. We don't even need to break out a calculator, the one that we have on us at all times, effectively. But history and science, now that's a little harder, even though we do carry access to those, in theory. And what's terrifying is now there are so many people misremembering even recent events. I can't tell if I'm being trolled or if people are that stupid.
I think people are that stupid.
Yeah.
I did have someone try to argue that Biden was president in 2020 when the pandemic started.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We're rewriting history now.
I was trying to
I mean,
figure
come
out
on.
if he was... Thankfully, I called her out and said, Here are the years Biden was president. Here are the years Trump was president. You do not get to say that COVID-19 broke out on Biden's watch. You can say it continued on his watch, but...
I'll never forget when I was in school. When I was in high school, we had a baking class, and our teacher would always tell us, if you can't bake a cake, then you're going to be digging ditches as a construction worker all your life. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you telling us? Like, what? If you can't bake a cake, you're fucked. You're gonna be having the worst job imaginable. Like, heaven forbid you could. Huh?
That's like your shop teacher telling you if you can't make an acrylic ashtray on half a moment's notice, you're going to be working food service the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And we all thought she was just a maniac. Like, I mean, she was just crazy.
Otherwise,
I mean, yeah, I would say so.
There are very horrible teachers out there. In Mattoon, I was blessed to have some good ones. My economics teacher would Bob Newhart throughout his entire class. So he would throw out deadpan jokes like, if I go off in a marvelous exotic location or vacation to a far-flung off place like Neoga, and it just worked. And then you had the control freaks.
I mostly had control freaks.
Did you go to school here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I had some pretty decent ones. Most of my decent ones were like my literature teachers. Anybody who taught like any kind of science or something like that, yeah, they were total fucking control freaks.
I was a mix across all the sciences and arts, so I had control freaks and good teachers in both.
Thankfully, my science teacher was just an alcoholic. He would literally just come in. Oh my God, he was something, man. I even remember his name. Like, fuck, he would come in and he brought in bottles of water, what we assumed were bottles of water. Turns out it was like vodka. And he was just like drinking it most of the class. Then he would pass out and put on Bill Nye the Science Guy and have Bill Nye teach the class.
He put on modern Bill Nye, and I'm down.
No, it was old. It was the 90s Bill Nye show. And I even remember like parent-teacher night where, you know, your parents come in and meet your teachers. He was wasted. Like, he didn't even know, like, my parents were asking, oh, how's our son doing in your class? And he was trying to tell them that their son wasn't in his class. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're so freaking out of it.
Okay, Gaston's got a good point as far as the teacher saying, well, you know, if you can't bake a cake, you're not going to go far in life. I could actually kind of understand that because baking a cake does require precise measurements, being able to read instructions, understand instructions, stuff like that. That's there is
true.
An argument to be made there.
That's true if it was anybody else but her. But because it's her, and I know what she's like, she's just a maniac. And oh man, like, she was so overweight, like she could barely make her way through the classroom. And what she would do was she would like have us bake all these pastries and stuff like that. Then she would grade them by eating half of them. So she'd be like, oh, okay, so it's Valentine's Day, so I want you to make a cake for your parents. So we're like, oh, sweet, a cake I can bring home to my parents. Yeah, no, she ate half the cake of every student. And then we got to take home half a fucking cake to our parents. Like, parents are like, where's the rest of the cake? Did you eat it? Nope, our teacher did.
I was going to say, I figured as much. I figured as much when you were like, oh, she was really overweight. I'm like, was she like making all of her classes just bake cakes and just...
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn, and here I was just with the substitute teacher who put in his thumb drive and didn't remember what he had on his thumb drive when it was set
Oh my
to
god, no, I need to
autoplay.
hear the rest of this story.
You know, I was going to say I had the drunk adult I had in my life was interesting, but no, I want to hear more about this substitute
I
teacher and the
really
thumb drive
do.
now.
Okay,
I
so let me give
really
you backstory. So this substitute teacher was actually an alumni of the high school. I knew him
even
back when he
better.
was going to high school because he was in my sister's class. And first off, when we say he has short man syndrome, he really fucking does. Because the
Okay.
man never grew to be over 5'3". So he's already angry at everybody. But then he came back as a substitute teacher, and everybody fucking hated him because he just took everything out on everybody. Didn't know how to teach, never knew what subject he was teaching in the first place, and they never gave him a specific subject so he could substitute everything. And then one day, one of my friends comes up to me and he's laughing his ass off, and I was like, yo, what's up? He says, so, you know how Nep was subbing my class? I was like, yeah. He goes, so, he just basically got fired. I was like, what the hell happened? He says, so he came in and he was trying to teach the class and he gave us an assignment to do. And then he told us to look up at the projector because he was going to give us our assignment. And he put his thumb drive in the laptop and it auto-played. And he had about 1.5 gigs of just hardcore hentai on the thumb drive that started playing on the projector full screen.
What
Tell
an
me it was
amazing
several
class.
windows at once. Tell me. Please.
And I was just like, did you happen to see what kind of hentai? He's like big titties and shit. And I was like, oh, god damn it, he's not even a proper deviant.
Wow.
So, all right, now I'll tell this one. The drunken adult in my life growing up was my priest.
Why does this not surprise me?
Now, everyone says, oh, the priest is going to be this horrible child grumpy. No, he was just drunk and happy. Like, normally he was actually pretty pleasant. But, you know, he would get sloshed and he would unfortunately drive. You see where this is going.
I see multiple places where this could be going.
Yeah.
Jail being one of them.
Yeah.
So, he does get pulled over several times, and it's Mattoon, where we had our mayor kept getting DUIs one year. So this is not too abnormal. That probably is part of why he didn't go to jail. But it all came to a head when he accidentally, and I do mean accidentally, because he was mortified when he found out what happened, backed over a Satanist.
Yeah, I remember hearing this story.
Yes, you did. So we knew this was bad, and the Satanist goes, "What happened? You got backed over. By who? Father Niebrigi." The Satanist, Mark, couldn't stop laughing.
I mean, to be fair,
You got
as
two
a Mark,
broken legs.
I can
I
tell.
got
Yeah,
backed
that's
over
fucking
by a
hilarious.
priest.
Yeah.
There was no drug we could have given him that was so effective as priest backs over Satanist on accident. Even Mark called it divine intervention.
I was about to say that this is a sign from God.
Well, the sign
Not a
was
very strong one because I'm still here, but it's
Well,
a
the sign
sign.
was, "Hey Herman, stop drinking." Apparently, so he did, and then another DUI driver killed after he was sober.
I mean, Jesus, the more I hear about your town and the DUIs, I just wonder if the cops ever pulled someone over for a DUI while drunk.
Did I ever tell you about the Omega scandal? A literal
It is
billion-dollar
not
scandal that happened in Mattoon. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon, referenced by ZZ Top, makes more sense than this. Why is my town in the map for horrible things? Like when the Coca-Cola factory burned down.
I feel like
Or
you
when
should
we
just look
lost
up
our
the town and
old
go through.
Pinocchio-themed Italian restaurant.
You lived in an interesting place.
Dead puppet eyes stare at you from every corner of the restaurant.
I mean, as long as there's not one in the bathroom while you're taking a shit.
The important thing is it was all Pinocchio, not just Disney Pinocchio. All Pinocchios.
So you had just like the creepy, like, I'm watching you and I'm enjoying it.
And the various flavors of European, this is supposed to be a happy face and a puppet Pinocchio that will scare American children who see it on PBS or Calliope.
This is what happiness looks like.
This was when you were younger?
Yes.
So my question is, have you been traumatized by Shrek?
Haven't seen Shrek.
Okay, Pinocchio's in it. Don't watch it.
Pinocchio's in it in a thong.
There you go.
Okay, I would laugh. I mean, I'm sorry, but Skeletor is a bigger part of my childhood than Pinocchio, regardless of the status of that restaurant.
That's fair.
Particularly when
I just love the fact that we keep saying shit that apparently makes gamers question our sanity. But then he wonders how we can just block out the trauma of what's happening politically right now. That's basically our specialty.
Like, we've been around crazy adults all our lives or during our childhoods. So when we grew up and the adults were still crazy, this did not mean anything to us.
Exactly.
Well,
stupidity and bullshit
there's
politics is just what we grew up on.
There's that, and like I've said before, the existential threat of nuclear annihilation is comforting to us. That was our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see it as a threat. We see it as, well, if worst comes to worst, we have a permanent retirement plan.
Shit, half of us don't even see it as worst comes to worst. We just see it as, can we get over this? I just want to see what it's like on the other side.
Alien invasion, we'll take it.
For most of us, it's like, you know, even with the threat, it's like, okay, yeah, but we are in prime locations where they're going to be targeting us. So by the time it starts, we're not going to have to worry about the aftermath. We're going to be like vaporized from the very beginning. So yeah,
it's a win-win. Either we die and we don't realize it, or we make it out to the other side and we get to see what the post-apocalypse is like.
Now, did Olaf, did you have the tornado siren started right after the show last week? Did you do what I did and said fuck it and go to bed in your normal, not in the basement room?
No, I cannot. I need it to be like as quiet as possible when I sleep. So that was very much keeping me awake. I'm just like, nope, not gonna be able to sleep with all that shit going.
Hold up. Why were the tornado signs going off? Was it just
because of tornadoes?
There's an actual
tornadoes. Tornadoes. Multiple tornadoes.
I got an alert on my phone that said, go to your basement now. It's like, no.
Yeah, it was. And the thing was, it wasn't like they went off to notify you of a tornado. They were going constantly for like an hour.
To be fair, a few did enter town.
See, I have to be very careful when I hear those sirens because I don't know what they're for.
So what does it sound like? Like, does it sound like an air raid?
Yeah.
I was about to say
air raid siren.
You got to go by state and sometimes city because we use different sirens all over.
Yeah, here in Illinois, or they're basically their air raid sirens.
Yeah, but see, here in Virginia, we have multiple different sirens for different counties, but also we like to tie our sirens all into one system. So if it's fire or floods or tornadoes or earthquakes, all the same siren, which is dumb because, like I said, if I hear those sirens go off, there's also the slight chance that Lake Anna has melted down again and we're about to be in full-scale nuclear incident. So I hear those sirens. I'm like, fuck, is this a natural disaster? Is the wind gonna pick up? Do I need to avoid drinking water for the next 3.5 years? What's going on?
See, I have a special hatred of those sirens. Because when I was working third shift. Was it third shift? No, I think I was working second shift at that point. Working second shift, so I was getting off at midnight. And it was, especially during part of the time, I was working late because, hey, I was able to get some extra hours and stuff like that. Cool, extra money, great. I lived a stone's throw from one of those sirens. I learned to hate the first Tuesday of every goddamn month because they always test them at 10 a.m.
Yep.
So that night when you couldn't sleep because of the siren, how long did that go on for?
I think it lasted until about 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30.
And it started at what time?
As soon as we went
About
off.
midnight. Yeah. It was like pretty much right after we ended the stream.
Oh yeah, don't forget I have the double whammy because not only do we have the sirens, which go off like you said, every second Tuesday of every month. I also happen to live near 4 military bases, and they like to do flyovers.
Ah.
So we get like attack choppers at extremely low altitudes. And I always know when we have new neighbors because there's always somebody running out of the house screaming like, "What the fuck is this? What's going on?"
Oh, I gotta
It's
tell.
just the military, making sure that you guys know that they're there.
Oh yeah, we had one time it was a bunch of us sitting out on our porches. I think it was midsummer, and some guy started freaking out. He's like, "What's going on? Are we being attacked?" And like we're all just drinking coffee. And we're like, "No, just dogging." And then I happened to check the calendar. It was like, "Oh shit, but tomorrow you're gonna hear a lot of weird sounds." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Cause tomorrow Dahlgren's doing their artillery test, so you're gonna hear a lot of explosions. Don't worry, it's normal."
All right. One thing of recent memory. So, because of course they did, Memorial Stadium had a game one day with multiple flyovers from a bunch of jets, which caused a very weird sound if you don't know or care about games going on 2 blocks from your house. So I grab my cat and I run into the basement. Little Olive here was not born yet. That's right, girl. So, yes, it was just like, I didn't hear alarms. I heard lots of weird noises, and I was, where are their alarms for a change? Because again, this flyover is less than 2 blocks from my house.
Yeah.
Olaf, you've seen where my house is.
Yep.
See, again, this all goes right back to what I was saying. Our entire culture is just blocking shit out.
I've
It's like,
now
okay,
learned
if that and a certain blasé of especially anybody in Gen X, in the Gen X generation, like, we're just like, yep, okay, we don't give a fuck. Like, look, if they're gonna kill us, they're gonna. If you're gonna kill us, get it the fuck over with.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we got shit to do.
It's that special blend of, is it affecting me? Then I don't give a shit. And if it is going to affect me, get it the fuck over with.
Gen X is the Midwesterners going outside and just watching the tornadoes and going, "Oh, hey, that's a fast one."
Yeah.
Which we do. We absolutely do that.
Okay.
Even the weather people are fucking crazy, but they're like, don't go outside and look at it. Don't go outside and look up. You're not going to see anything. Oh, hey, what was that loud crash? Hey, I'm going to go out into the weather garden outside and see what's going on. Like, okay, cool. It's like, you just told us not to go outside. What the fuck are you doing?
Here's how used to it we are. Down in Mattoon, which is truly Tornado Alley, I had a friend who had one of those buttresses on his house because it was an older Victorian-styled house. He happened to keep all his video games there, particularly his Game Boy ones. Most of the video games he found in his yard, but a couple wound up in a friend's yard 2 miles away, so from there they managed to find the rest of his games. The ones that weren't smashed. This is literally how the Midwest works. A lot of them just wound up, if it hit a yard, great. If it hit the street, nah, that one's gone.
Okay, so Gas, in order to give you the short answer, what decade were you born in?
Well, it needs to be more what year.
I'm trying to be vague.
Oh, come on. We know that I'm 47. We know that Ras is 46. We're not shy
Yeah,
about
we
our
know that I'm
ages.
35.
Yes, we do know that you're the child of the group.
And yet somehow that doesn't stop me from being one of the most wise.
I'm not sure I would say that exactly, but
I'm about to say.
What did he say?
that he may be the youngest, but he's also one of the most wise. It's like, I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that far. In
Wisdom comes in
1981,
many
you would be a
forms.
millennial. Technically, you would be a millennial.
I've been told I'm Gen X. I've been told I'm millennial because I swear the year for the cutoff just keeps switching back and forth.
No,
They
it's
do.
1980, but a lot of people in our at the ass end of Gen X are generally referred to as Zennials because we grew up and hit high school before. We grew up, most of our childhood was without things like the internet or cell phones or anything like that. But all of those were around by the time we were in high school.
Yeah, we had a local BBS in Mattoon. Internet, we had to dial long distance to either Champaign or Decatur. Dialing through the phone for internet.
I was about to say, we might need to explain that for our even younger listeners.
Back in the day,
time.
we
No, I-
strangled a robot and heard its orgasm in order to get a signal.
That sound still haunts my dreams.
Haunts my
The
dreams.
sound of
That's
a
the fucking
child.
sound of my childhood.
No, that's what I'm saying. But it's always in my family. My dad ran his own business out of our house, and so we had our internet tied up with the fax machine. So it was always like, "Get off the internet! I'm expecting a fax." And so, like, half the time I couldn't even be online.
Fun fact,
was-
you still have to send a lot of legal documents through fax even today. Enjoy your local library. Trust me, they have one.
You know, I think we can tell nowadays who is born in what generation, just depending on how accurate of a modem sound they can make.
I see. I wouldn't be able to. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a pain in the throat to me.
Yeah.
It is, especially when you hit that high note.
So yeah, see,
It's
Gas
like-
Giant, you would be part of the micro generation of Zennials. It's part late
Stop this
late
micro
Gen
shit.
Z and part millennial, early millennials.
I remember the world before the internet. I remember before cell phones. I remember going outside and touching grass. I remember eating the grass.
See, you ate grass. I apparently got really creative and ate my dad's cigarettes.
No, see, I grew up around smokers, so I knew better than to do that. It was great. My parents always taught me, don't smoke. Smoking is bad. Don't even go around people who smoke. And then every single one of their friends smoked.
What they tried to
You
tell
just-
you is that people
Or
suck.
just avoiding all of their friends.
No, like they introduced me to their friends. They're like, "This is your Uncle Earl. This is your Uncle Jeff. This is your Uncle." I was like, "How many fucking uncles do I have?" I mean, come on. One of my fondest memories, not fondest memories, just it makes me laugh every time I remember it, is my parents telling me I needed to not stay up late, be responsible, and never, ever, ever drink. And the next day I woke up to a woman face down in our cat box because she was so fucking drunk she didn't know where she was.
Okay.
That's yeah.
I just like turned around, walked to my parents' bedroom, was like, "Dad, Jackie's in the fucking cat box." He's like, "What?" And I was like, "Jackie's in the cat box. You want to go rescue her?"
Damn.
Wow.
That's a
feel like
special
you
kind
need
of
to have
fucked
your
up.
own- I feel like you need to have your own reality show.
It would be boring as shit.
I don't
No,
know.
It's about the
I don't know about
highlights. It's like, okay, if I told people, well, I tell you all of stories of my time at Gumby's Pizza, they're fucking hilarious and terrifying, but a lot of the shit was just day-to-day assholes who didn't tip.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing, is we have a lot of holy shit, what the fuck moments, but 99% of our lives is boring as hell.
Like, it got, and you can also desensitize yourself. Like, one story I tell people is that one day at Gumby's, the bake line caught fire. Me and the other guy working the shift were eating lunch. We look at each other and say, should we do something about that?
I was about to say, the real test of have you been in food service is me sitting there going, "Oh, how to catch on fire."
We know why it caught on fire. The short answer was because the boss never paid for any maintenance whatsoever.
Oh, okay, so it was a...
Nor did the boss
fuck up.
before him, nor did the boss before him.
No, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. That's an equipment failure. You don't have to blame yourselves for that.
I don't think they were
Yeah, I
blaming
was-
themselves. I think they were like, should we do something or should we just let the fucking place burn to the goddamn ground?
No, that's what I mean. Is like that's the true test of food service. Like, okay, what happened? Is it the moment somebody's like, "Well, we didn't clean out the grease." You didn't what?
But other things were more hilarious. Like, you've all heard my story about the night everyone got arrested, or the assistant manager who would run outside with a utility belt and cape made of dough, screaming, "I am Dough Man, defender of marinara." Little things like that make memorable.
How much
stories.
green was in your red sauce?
Never mind. Do you know there was an 8-ball in the fucking bathroom?
Doesn't surprise me somehow.
Yeah, was this the one? Was this a place that when it closed, they just like left an 8-ball of Coke?
No, they left the oven running.
So you've had multiple pizza jobs that have just been like, hey, here's some Coke.
Okay, we're not all Garcias, but Jesus fuck, the number of stories I had about Garcias, and I didn't even work there.
Like, I'm realizing that, you know, every time I've ordered pizza as a kid or as a young adult, it's like, man, I'm surprised it got here. As much Coke as was apparently being done in all the pizzerias around town. Fuck.
Listening to him, it's no wonder that Rasclin loves Snowflame.
So,
He's every coworker I ever had.
slight change of topic. I don't know if you guys know, but on Monday I'm moving out of this apartment. I'm going to be moving into a house. And so when I took the tour of this house, there was a woman who's living upstairs, and she was so loud. She had like kids and everything like that, and I was just thinking to myself, Christ, if I have to live with that, that's crazy. And my mom went to go drop some stuff off at the new place for me, like pots and pans or stuff like that, cookware. And she met the neighbors, and apparently the woman who was being really loud and everything, she was not only evicted, but she had child services called on her while I was back at my old apartment, and her kids taken away because she was dealing drugs out of the house.
And now,
Wow.
here's where we have to ask the question: were they at least good drugs?
I was waiting for the connection to cocaine.
I don't know what it was, but so my mom met the other neighbors, and they're saying, oh well, does he do drugs or alcohol? That's the first question they asked about me, and she's like, oh God, no, he doesn't do either. Does he have a lot of parties? No, he's not interested in that kind of shit. And they're like, oh, he's gonna fit in perfectly here then. And they were telling her that they have they're very close, the other neighbors, or the other roommates, I guess you could call them. It's a house, so it's split into 3 parts, and each part has its own kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, living room.
Yeah.
So they were saying that they have barbecues, the other 2 neighbors, and they treat everybody like a family, and so they all have a barbecue together. I guess they never had a barbecue with the drug dealer, which is understandable. I don't think I would want one either. But they were like saying,
the best barbecues though.
Okay.
Those
They were
motherfuckers
saying,
know how to cook.
They were saying, oh well.
No, those are the meth
your son
dealers.
Would your son be interested in taking part? And I'm thinking to myself, free food? Hell yeah.
No. See, meth dealers know how to cook, but you get a stoner who's really into that shit, they will make you the best goddamn steak and just don't eat dessert. That's the only thing you got to worry about.
I was gonna say, it's like, oh, they know how to cook. Kind of. The thing is that most
They're really
stoners,
good at baking.
Most stoners think that they really know how to cook. Problem is that they never try the food that they make when they're sober. It's the same principle as cooking when you're drunk. You can make the most amazing stuff when you're drunk. However, if you try it when you're sober, it's not as good. Like all of a sudden, having a steak with confectionery sprinkles on it and powdered sugar just doesn't hit the same.
I've had that.
I'm not surprised.
As a person who's made a spicy, savory French toast, I can say nothing. And I don't even have the excuse of being drunk or high.
He just wanted to see what would happen.
I did. I just wanted to see the kitchen burn.
I was gonna say, Ras, I have questions about your taste buds, but that's
You had my
from
teriyaki
years of
sauce.
knowing you.
You know,
I don't think he has any at this point.
I assure you, my other cooking is good once I work out all the breaks in a new recipe. Those pork chops I made for you back then, for that party, I did go through some iterations of weird things, but they were proof that you could mix sugar and meat and it would work.
Well, yeah, it's called barbecue sauce.
True.
Yeah.
But what I did was a little above and beyond normal sugar.
I mean,
And salt.
that's just extreme caramelization.
It really was. Those things baked for hours and low. But that's why they slid right off the bone.
I mean, shit, you can pretty much make candied jerky if you do it right.
You can. You've all heard my story already, I know, about someone shows you the peanut butter and jelly and egg, and first response is replace the jelly with chili oil, and it's fine.
I'm sorry, did you say a peanut butter and jelly with egg?
Someone did a meme where it's just like peanut butter and jelly in an egg white, a boiled egg white. Like a deviled egg, but someone took out the normal things.
Oh, okay.
And
Shit. I'm sitting here thinking like a peanut butter and jelly with a fried egg in the center. I'm like, God damn, that's going to be my breakfast.
And no, this was just someone making a meme showing they held all cuisine in contempt. Someone handed it to me and said, "You'd make this," and I said, "No, I'd replace the jelly with chili oil." So she
No,
looks at me and says, "You're just
replace
trying to
the
be
jelly.
good."
Replace the jelly with, oh God, what is it? Chutney.
That could work too. Peanut butter chutney in the egg white. I went with chili oil, but I was thinking pad thai.
I was thinking just a peanut butter and chutney sandwich.
Also fair.
Get a
There are
good
a
mango
lot of
chutney.
Someone went with the jelly because PBJ, and I just said, no, here's how you fix this. Because of course I did. Red pepper jelly actually is a replacement for the grape jelly that had been in there. Could also work.
Yeah, I've always felt that you cannot that you really can't screw anything up when you add by adding spice to it.
Things that everyone tends to like: peanut butter, spices. Until a few years ago, obviously I would have said bacon, and even now I have substitute bacon on hand because we all like that smoky flavor. It works with damn near anything.
It's true.
Like, I had a bacon milkshake back in the day. And bugger me if it didn't work. So now I do that same thing, just with soy bacon.
That sounds disgusting, but only because most places around here would just use liquid smoke.
Liquid
Yeah.
smoke comes into it, but, with restraint. You don't overpower. So yeah, I could honestly see it getting that way very quickly, but... Other thing, like vanilla ice cream. I swear if you add vanilla ice cream to damn near anything, most people are going to love it. Ditto for maple syrup.
True.
Maple syrup can be worked with anything. I was doing stir fry one night, didn't have anything appropriate for a sauce, so all I did was I took paprika, maple syrup, and soy sauce, mixed them for a bit in a separate saucepan, and let them, thicken over time, and then add it to a stir fry. Done. Sauce obtained.
Go down the mayo spice. Mayo spice.
Mm-hmm. White
Mayo
people say mayonnaise is spicy.
Who says mayonnaise is spicy?
White people.
Okay. Gods, we are the melanin challenged, aren't we?
No. Okay, I'm going to explain this like I do with my parents.
Okay.
You have to listen. There's a difference in inflection. Sometimes I say white people, and I mean people who are of the Caucasian persuasion.
Fair.
And then sometimes I say white people.
Okay, yeah. To me, I see the difference, but to me, a lot of the times, there almost is no difference, but...
No, there's a lot of overlap, unfortunately.
Like, you heard the
It's-
letter I mentioned today, before we started, and...
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you 2 copies of this shit later.
That's not even white people. That's white people.
That's just an asshole.
In
Yeah.
fact, I'm gonna send you both... Fuck it, gamers, I'm just gonna put this in the Pirates channel. Because fuck it.
So also I'm staring at this, what is supposed to be a funny shirt. And granted, the joke works. It's we've been trying to reach you about your vehicle's extended warranty, and it's Christine. But that just makes me wonder, how many years out of date is Christine's warranty?
Technically, she voided it by becoming sentient.
This is
Because
true.
now she's
Technically-
operating
Well,
it in a
now,
manner
hang on.
inconsistent.
Hang on. Does it say in the warranty that it is void if the car becomes sentient?
No.
If
but
it doesn't say
technically
that
the-
in the warranty, then you can't say that they voided the warranty by her that it became voided the warranty by becoming sentient. That's not in your warranty.
It's
Hold
not
on.
specifically. But
The sentience is not covered under the warranty. The demonic possession is not covered under the warranty. But I do feel like they voided it the moment that the corpse was in the car.
the trick is not consistent with what is meant to be typical use of a car. And if a lawyer got wind of, hey, it's serving as a spiritual chassis for a ghost, regardless of how benevolent or malevolent or the ghost, spirit, demon, whatever had been, it would say, yep, not our thing anymore. You have been repurposed for something else. You are a completely different object than the car we manufactured effectively now.
Yeah, I think you'd have I don't think you'd have a lawyer that would actually argue that because probably look insane and lose their license.
Assuming they could prove the spirit in question was real, though, for whatever reason they can prove it in court, the spirit's real. Do they have a case?
I mean, shit, you realize that Christine is a story that we can't update, right? You can't make Christine modern because nowadays she'd be a Tesla and she'd have cameras all over. Everyone would know she's demonically possessed.
No. Here's how you know she's demonically possessed. She works properly.
I was about to say, she's a Tesla that functions.
Here's the Tesla that does not fall to the Wile E. Coyote tunnel trick. The
She
auto
goes to murder
drive
you and she's like, I may have been built by Elon.
I love the people that are trying to discount that. They're like, oh no, if you look at the very last second, right before it hits, the self-driving is off. It's like, yes, the Teslas have been known to turn the auto driving off right before an accident so that they're not liable. That is a known problem with the Tesla autopilot.
Momentum be damned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this leads me beautifully into the question I was going to ask in the first place, which was, hey, if you had to work for a fictional corporation, had to work for a fictional corporation, which one do you want to work for?
LexCorp.
I was about to say, we're talking the
about it.
classics like Wayland Yutani, OCP.
Oh, so you're talking exclusively the bad ones.
Yes, if you had to work for one of those.
Like,
But
don't
see,
get
but
me
the way
wrong.
you worded it, we could work for anybody. I mean, we could work for Wayne Tech.
I thought about Wayne Tech, but there's a reason I wouldn't.
Because it's Wayne Tech?
Because they'll be under attack by both good guys and bad guys for whatever reason. And LexCorp, you're still under attack, but it's only by good guys, which means they'll take pains not to kill you.
Well, I mean, not really, because I mean, the other villains could potentially look at that and be like, yeah, we're gonna rob LexCorp. Ground level
I mean, hell,
gangs
if
that
you
are
wanted
wanting
go-
to really boost their reputation. Hey, let's head up a LexCorp warehouse.
exactly.
And now you've
if you
got a
wanna
bunch
go
of
the-
game darn. Yeah.
If you want to go LexCorp versus Wayne Tech, the proper answer is you work for Doom.
Only if
No.
I work directly in Latveria, not if I'm anywhere else in the world.
You do not work for Doom.
You work for
'Cause
Doom
here's
if
the
you were
reason.
so low, he'd never
Doom-
know.
No, Doom doesn't give a shit. Doom does not care if you live or die. It's the same reason you don't work for the Joker. They don't give
Well,
a
no,
fuck
no.
about you. They are more than happy to let you die.
That's
You're
why
telling
we're
me that-
saying you specifically have to work for Doom in Latveria.
Because he won't.
Oh, you mean
notice
where
me
they
there.
probably don't have any kind of OSHA laws, OSHA regulations, any kind of safety nets whatsoever? So literally you could, get ground up into whatever the hell he's making and nobody's going to bat an eye. You really want to work there?
Actually, he's been proven that he makes damn sure the citizens of Latveria are taken care of. Specifically so that they're always happy. So that they'll
The
continue
citizens,
supporting him.
yes. The
I
citizens,
would-
yes.
I
They
would
don't
say
say as
citizens.
workers.
Yeah.
The citizens will overthrow him if they're pissed off. His workers rely on him for their daily bread.
Also, who else? Other corporation. Which of the Shadowrun corporations could we tolerate working?
Mm.
There's
I'm not
only
sure
6
any of
big
them.
ones.
I'm not sure any of them.
Seder,
Okay, well, let's focus on the mainstream ones right now. Like I said, OCP and Wayland Yutani and all them. Who would you want to work for?
I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's like, I I think it's a flawed concept to say you have to work for one of these bad companies. Like a mainstream company, okay, a mainstream fictional company, okay, that's one thing. But say no, you have to work for one of the bad guys, one of the ones that's, in some way going to completely fuck you over is it's a little too restricting.
I'm the one who immediately started that by saying LexCorp. To be fair, we did not say it had to be a bad one. I just picked that. And I picked that because of my own twisted logic, admittedly.
I mean, there's plenty of companies that it's like, yeah, that work in that in even in comic books or some of these stuff that it's like, yeah, they're not bad to work at. I mean, even in RoboCop, it's like it's not all of the United States is shit. It's Detroit is shit.
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit's always been shit, but at least they've accepted it.
They own it now. They're just like once RoboCop comes around, it's like no, we own it. We know we're shit. We're proud to be shit.
I was about to say Detroit went from oh fuck they're making fun of Detroit to literally just posting can't have shit in Detroit.
Okay, I've got it. This is a fictional corporation. It's not quite in the mainstream, but it did wind up in a few episodes of Star Trek. Sluggo Cola. The slimiest cola in the galaxy.
You mean Slurm?
It was a Star Trek Deep Space Nine thing, and the Ferengi were trying to find a sponsor for their ideas for women's equality in society. So they said, which CEO of which Ferengi company can we grab? We got the Sluggo Cola guy, and all the Ferengi break into the jingle for the company. And it was like, oh my god, that's horrifying.
If I have to choose one, I'm going to choose Clamp. Clamp Industries.
I immediately thought of Clamp the Animation Studio.
Did none of you watch Gremlins 2?
Oh, good God.
Not for a long ass time.
Look, the thing we most remember the most was old guy from Gremlins 1 dies early on, and Grandpa Munster, and Australian intellectual gremlin, and Christopher Lee is killed by an electric gremlin. There, that is everything. Oh, and the holographic doctor from Voyager winds up marrying a gremlin.
Congratulations, you remember the entire movie.
A transgender gremlin.
I think the scariest fact I learned about Gremlins 1 and 2 was the fact that Michael Winslow was the voice of Stripe.
He was the voice of 99% of the Gremlins, actually.
Was he? I knew he was the voice of Stripe and Gizmo, but that's it. I also heard he was talking about on an interview, and he was saying that he was the sound effect for all the guns in the future war in Terminator 1 and 2. So whenever they did the segments where the resistance fighters were fighting with plasma rifles, he was doing those sounds of the plasma rifles, apparently. I'm just like, what?
That's not surprising.
No, it really isn't when you learn the kind of talents he has, but at the same time it's kind of like shocking thinking that those sounds were all just done by the guy from Police Academy.
I mean, you think about it like this. It's like, well, they would either have to find some way of creating those sounds with something, or just hire somebody who can make the sounds with their mouth.
That's true.
Like look at Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Boulder. Should be a really simple, easy, you would think that it'd be real simple and easy. That's actually like a Volvo or something with a recorder in it just driving down a hill. Just like coasting down a hill.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
That's where the sound effect came from. Yeah.
Have any of you ever seen the short film George Lucas in Love?
No.
Never even heard of it.
Oh my god. It was way back when. I want to say they aired it next to an episode of Mystery Science Theater. But it was supposed to like be a take on that. But it's a completely satirical explanation of how George Lucas came up with Star Wars. Right down to the Jedi were all just his stoner roommate. And every time he got high, he would spout some philosophical bullshit that eventually Obi-Wan would say. The Yoda was actually just a really weird professor who was always buzzed on coffee.
Okay, yeah, I know. I've never seen that. The only Star Wars parodies I ever watched were obviously Spaceballs, and the Family Guy, Blue Harvest, and all those 3 movies, as well as Thumb Wars, which was
I remember Thumb Wars.
yeah, it was made by what's his name? The writer and director of the Ace Ventura movies. I can't remember his name now.
There we go. I posted George Lucas in Love in the live stream chat.
Very
It's
cool.
actually on YouTube.
Yeah, it's an 8-minute short film.
Oh, okay. I'll have to watch it.
And I just have a disturbing news item cross my desk.
Okay.
More disturbing than usual. Apparently, Trump has forced the CEO of Amtrak to step down.
Oh, there you go.
Let me guess,
Hey.
he's putting Starlink in.
Oh my God, it wouldn't surprise me, but no, he's... Apparently, Trump doesn't like him, so the guy's resigning. I'm really simplifying this, but basically, he is stepping down so the group can put in someone who will keep up good relations with the administration and Amtrak.
Didn't he use that exact same excuse with like firing all of the FBI and everything? He
A lot
did
of the
same thing, I swear
DOJ
to
and
God.
stuff, yeah. It was anybody who took part in investigating him.
This is the CEO saying he is stepping down so he does not damage Amtrak's relations with the administration, which is a really weird thing to hear.
I mean, does Trump really give a shit about Amtrak?
I think he gives a shit about being able to control things people didn't think he could control.
Doesn't he own stock in Amtrak?
Probably. Just the concept of just forcing a CEO, like, don't get me wrong, I don't tend to like taking the side of a corporation over the government, but damn.
It's all about him trying to show off his power, because I mean, when he was having that chat with the president of Ukraine, if you pay attention to when he's like saying you're gambling with World War III, and he's doing crap that he's saying, he keeps on staring at the camera. If you pay attention to Trump's mannerisms, all he does is stare at the camera for most of that talk with the president of Ukraine. Occasionally he'll stare at the president of Ukraine, but most of the time he's just staring at the camera, because it's all just, trying to look good for the camera.
This is what happens when you have a reality TV star running diplomacy. And that means he does the deliberate face the camera and stir shit up.
Yep.
Ugh.
Is it time for my talking head segment?
Did he think he was going to fire Zelensky?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Zelensky did masterfully call the bluff, saying, tell you what, let us into NATO and I'll step down.
Yeah.
That was just like, call the bluff right now. Well done, sir. Well played.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I mean that's basically his thing is just all about how strong can I look, and I guess that's one of the things is like if I get rid of the guy who runs Amtrak, it's gonna make me look tougher. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like to me anyway. But that's all.
One
it is.
day we will look back on this presidency the same way we look back at the Rocky Horror Picture Show sequel.
Wait, what? I didn't even know there was a sequel.
You
Exactly.
Stop.
okay.
months.
There is a Rocky Horror Picture Show sequel. Unfortunately, you don't actually get any sequel vibes from it because only 3 people from the original cast came back, and it was all just Magenta, Riff Raff, and Columbia, but they don't play Magenta, Riff Raff, and Columbia. And then Brad and Janet are 2 totally different people and are now trying to kill each other.
Yeah, I'm not interested
Yeah.
at all. I just suddenly lost all interest based on that sterling description.
It does have
no.
one of the catchiest songs ever, which is Bitchin' in the Kitchen.
It also it gets sampled a lot, bits of it, in some industrial music, which is how I know about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know about what taught me about it first. That, or the fact that it was used as a plot line in the webcomic Something Positive.
I actually have a question, Olaf. Since you play older games occasionally, have you ever played the FMV adventure game Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No, I've
Did you-
not.
I'm guessing you never knew it existed based on that.
No, I mean I shouldn't be surprised, but
It's actually made by the guy who created Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's one of the main. So he plays the narrator in the game, and he narrates segments of the game through live FMV segments. It's actually really good. I'm not gonna lie, it's not bad. You can probably find it under Abandonware now because it's not. I haven't seen it on like GOG or anything, but I could find
Yeah.
it for you if you ever want to try it.
that might be interesting.
Yeah, it's
Give
from
me
the,
something for
from, like,
give me
19
something for Halloween this year.
There you go. It came out in 1996, 1997, so around the time when FMV was just starting to boom, with Phantasmagoria 2 and all that shit. Beast with
Yeah.
Yes, 11th Hour, and their modern
Yep.
sequel, The 13th Doll, available on.
Yep.
Well, actually, I would play The 13th Doll at some point live.
Did you-
That could go well.
Did you
I've
ever
never
see
really
the
liked those.
Fair.
So they remade the Seventh Guest for VR, and replaced all the FMV ghosts with modern FMV. But it's really interesting how they've done it now, because they've made it so that because it's a VR game, no matter it's all the FMV is 3-dimensional. It's crazy. So like when you're looking at the ghosts in VR, they're still like live actors, but they're 3-dimensional in such a way that it feels like they're real people and you're standing in front of them. It's crazy. And I guess that's where FMV is nowadays, is we can make full 3D images in VR and make it feel like you're standing in front of a real human being.
I would not mind playing as a VR and reskinned with something like that. The original Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines from 2004.
Mm-hmm.
That would be terrifying to do, but doable.
I've only played Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. I think that was the one.
Redemption is an interesting way to look at Vampire the Masquerade and World of Darkness, but Bloodlines is the far superior game. Trust me on this as someone who's played both. And who has played the tabletop game as well.
Yeah, no, I knew you played the tabletop game.
And done the LARP.
It's true. Played the same Gangrel for 4 years.
Interesting.
Favorite
I haven't
clan?
like
Zimiche.
I haven't played Vampire Masquerade Redemption since I was a teen. I might have to grab it again. Maybe it's. I'm assuming it's on GOG. But I barely remember it. I just know that I had a lot of fun with it when I was younger.
Its multiplayer was amazing, and the modding community was pretty damn good. But as much as I hate to admit, the core game, it's not going to hold up the way you remember.
Yeah, probably. But then again, I don't really. When I go back to old games, I don't really. It's more so for nostalgia. I don't really. Obviously, you can't compare them to modern day gaming, so I never do.
I'm talking about the plot, acting, etc.
Yeah, no, and I mean, again, I still play Phantasmagoria 1, and that one had like some of the worst FMV acting in existence.
It really does.
And that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. It never has.
Gothos. Do you remember Gothos?
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
Oh gods, you don't want to. You just don't. Olaf, you don't want to either. I don't even care if you stream it as a lark. You really don't.
I was just say, I don't think I've even heard of that one.
You play a vampire. It's a 90s FMV game.
I think one of the weirdest...
I'm waiting for the part of why don't we want to play it?
It's buggy as shit. It's basically got some of the most hammiest acting to the point where, you know, something's so bad it becomes good. It holds my beer, gets so bad it becomes good, then keeps being bad until it becomes horrible again.
Interesting.
The best
takes a lot.
I think the weirdest FMV game I played would have been Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster, and it starred Tim Curry as Frankenstein, like Dr. Frankenstein, and it was like a point-and-click adventure game, kind of like Myst, but it was like everywhere you were like stuck in Frankenstein. Is it Victor von Frankenstein? What was his actual name? I can't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were stuck in his castle as he was building Frankenstein or whatever, or building the monster, because the monster.
Adam.
Yeah. And it was just weird because everywhere you go, Tim Curry would just follow you around, and it was like actually him. It was like FMV, and it's just like, dude, can you just leave me alone for 5 minutes and let me explore your castle? Like, I don't know.
A game I've got that was a Windows 3.1 FMV, Burn Cycle. This one also made it to the consoles of the time.
I think I've heard of that one.
It was pretty good, and it's a very Blade Runner aesthetic, but it is, I was very young when I picked it up and started playing it. The combat, such as it is interesting. The problem is it's very easy to run into a dead-end insta-kill by making a wrong choice.
Back in the day, they were making so many weird FMV games. I remember Johnny Mnemonic, which was based off of the movie with Keanu Reeves, but Keanu Reeves wasn't in it. They just hired some random guy to play the character. I don't know. It's just I just don't understand.
Okay,
Dracula Unleashed.
Gas saying they'd be okay with Tim Curry following them around. You have obviously never seen Lex, where he plays a sex-obsessed computer program that follows you around and keeps trying to rape you.
The Frankenstein, him playing Frankenstein, following you around as you're trying to explore gas, I'd be okay with that. That is one of the things that I like. Always bothers me with so many games where it's like, okay, I am apparently just going to break into your house while you're having dinner. I'm going to pick up a bunch of stuff. And everybody's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, nobody ever fucking reacts. It's like,
I think that's why I liked Seventh Guest, is because even though Stoff has never seen until the very end, he's always there. You know he's watching you.
Yeah. Oh my God. He is a great ham actor.
Oh, he is.
What's really cool is Adventure Game Hotspot, who is a YouTuber that I've known for quite a while, and he is heavily involved in the gaming community on YouTube. He produces conversations with Curtis and various other channels and stuff like that. He ran a convention the very first time last summer, and he broadcasted the entire thing live. The entire freaking convention was broadcast live on YouTube for those who couldn't attend. And I sat there and I watched this convention for 3 days straight. And the amount of guests he had, like, I mean, celebrity, he had everybody who worked at Sierra there. He had everybody who worked at LucasArts there. He had everybody he had the original game developers of Seventh Guest there, and the original actor first off. I was just like, what the fuck? How did you find all these people? Like, I was blown away with this convention. He had like he had Rand and Ryan Meler, fucking creators of Myst and Riven. Like, fucking everybody was there, and you see it on this live stream. Like, I mean, he was like interviewing. It was crazy. I'm just like, dude, that is one of the craziest conventions I've ever seen, where he managed to get like everybody from gaming history together in one spot. Like, everybody you can think of.
That's the point where, you know, that's not only knowing the people, but also knowing how to put something together.
Oh,
like,
no!
I remember. There was one person here locally that tried to do like a steampunk convention who had no idea how to put anything to fucking together. Like, they didn't know how to put anything at all together. So it turned out to be like, oh, well, some of their friends were doing like a music set, a burlesque set, and stuff like that. It's like, okay. And that was pretty much it. They had like 2 or 3 vendors that basically it was like friends of theirs. And it's like, okay, but that's, you know, you need to actually understand how to put something like this together before you do it.
I think the best part of that entire convention, for me specifically, because of my, you know, nostalgia and nerdiness, was seeing Allo take the stage with his old saxophone and playing the entire theme for Leisure Suit Larry live. I was like, oh my fucking god. And he still knows how to play it, man. He hasn't missed a single chord. Like, he's spot on. It's like time hasn't aged. Like, it's crazy. And they're like, everybody was there. Like Jane Jensen, Roberta Williams, Ken Williams, everybody you could think of from LucasArts and Sierra, and like Tim Schafer. Like, I was just like, wow, what a convention. I regret not going to it, but it's an American con, so I don't think I would have been able to, just because you know, money wise.
Oh, I was gonna say, no, we didn't hate you then.
No. It's just finances. I was not in a good position to go. Yeah. But wow. I mean, I told him, I said straight out, you do this convention again, let me know. I'll try to be there. If you're gonna have anything close to being what that was, I need to attend, because that was his like first convention, first time running a convention. And dude, that thing went swimmingly, and I'm just blown away. Like, first time running a convention, and this is what you do? Like, holy shit.
Like I said, I mean,
I might link the live streams to the podcast, if you, or not to the podcast, to the chat, if you guys ever want to look at it and see it, because it is really stunning. And to just, there's panels where they sit down with the creators of Seventh Guest, and they ask them in-depth questions about the creation of Seventh Guest, and they do the same for the creators of Myst and Riven, and then they, like, just everything, and they just sat down on the stage, talk with them and everything, and it's just amazing. Just this entire thing was just incredible. And the fact that everybody was so keen on, all these guests were so keen on, yeah, let's do this, why not? But again, of course, Roberta and Ken Williams are back in the spotlight with their new company, their new game company anyway. So I mean, it seems like the past is coming back in a big way. So far, they're trying to, Roberta and Ken were saying that they're trying to get hold of Activision to get their old licenses back for King's Quest, Police Quest, Leisure Suit Larry, all that stuff, so that they can start making those games for a new generation under their new company, Cygnus Entertainment.
Not like Activision is really doing anything with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing.
I'm not even sure they've released the. I'm not even sure they've really released any of the collection, re-released any of the collections to basically to keep the license alive.
They haven't. No, not in a very long time. No, they just kind of sit on it, and honestly, I feel like if they came back with modern day takes on Police Quest, King's Quest, Leisure Suit Larry, Gabriel Knight, all those games, I feel like it would take the gaming world by storm. Because you get a new generation of gamers being like, "Oh, what's this?" And I mean, like, I'm seeing more and more classic games getting remastered for a new generation. Heck, next month, the old game "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream," if you've ever heard of that game.
I've got that one.
That's getting remade in 4K. Next
Really?
month. Yes.
Huh.
By Night Dive Studios. Mm-hmm. They've already remastered quite a few games. Night Dive Studios remastered Westwood Studios Blade Runner, and I have that remaster, and it's amazing. They did a fantastic job with it. When it first came out, it was buggy, but they quickly fixed it. But no, it's great to be able to play those classic games that I grew up with, and be able to play them not just on anything, but on my PS5. Like, and you know, I've got all these friends who've never even heard of these games. You're able to, on PS5, share your screen. So you share your screen, and other players in your party, your PlayStation party or live chat, can watch your screen as you're playing whatever game. And so I always share my screen whenever I'm playing those old classic games, just to show some of my friends that, yo, this is what I grew up with.
Now, that's one that I would absolutely love to see remade. Gas Giant is City of Heroes. I don't think we ever will, though.
I remember that game. Don't say never. I learned that the hard way. Don't say never, especially with all these companies, and especially Night Dive. Night Dive is going crazy with remasters.
No, the company that owns it, the company that owns that, are the same ones that released what was it, Champions? I think it was. It was like a. It was basically that was as close to a remake, and it was like a really like subpar variation of it. But yeah, that was. I don't think they're gonna remake that one. Like, people have been calling for that for ages, and they're just like, nah, we've got Champions online. Why not play that? It's like, because we can't be a villain in that one. Like, you know, they had City of Heroes, then they released City of Villains, so you could be either a hero or a villain. You could make your own shit and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, all right, cool.
I was amazed by the I don't know if you guys ever played the games. The Legacy of Kain games got full-on remasters, and beautiful remasters. I mean, these are stunning 4K, 60 frames per second, beautiful. And so they did Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remake, and they have an entire extras menu. And in the extras menu, they included the original shooting script for the game. They included concept art. They included cosplays all over the years of various conventions of people cosplaying as the characters. They included the original voice cast audition reels as well. They filmed the entire cast, I guess, back in the day, back in the early 2000s or late 90s, early 2000s, when the games were originally made. They had recorded all of the voiceover sessions with the voice actors. So you had Rene Auberjonois, who was Odo on Deep Space Nine. He was playing one of the lead characters in the game, and so you got to see the behind the scenes of him in the recording studio recording his lines for the character from the game. And it's, dude, this is amazing content. Like, this is incredible content that you get in the extras menu. I've never seen an extras menu so jam-packed with everything, like literally everything, concept art, the pictures, the outtakes, voice actor outtakes, the entire soundtrack for the game. It's crazy, and it's just all jam-packed in the extras menu, and I'm just like, damn, that's how remasters should be. And that's lately how game companies are doing remasters. They give you like the complete package. It's amazing.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, we've been going for, wow, over 2.5 hours now. And I don't know about you guys, but I am getting ready to crash here.
Oh yeah, I'm winding down.
I was gonna say, I keep looking over to halfway expecting to start hearing snoring coming from Caden.
Well, no, I'm just on my phone.
I'm going to be honest. Y'all have convinced me. I was thinking of hitting Sam and Max once we were done tonight because I'm just sort of wired for whatever reason. But I'm going to fire up my version, the old version of I have no mouth and I must scream now.
There you go. There you
I'm
go.
just gonna stay on the
Good
7th guest
game.
TV tropes.
You haven't played I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream in a very long time, so I barely remember anything from it, but I am definitely going to grab the this month just to get back into it.
I'm still waiting for the Space Ventures to actually be released.
Right? What is going on with that? I don't understand.
I don't know. I guess they're still running the beta, and they've been running into problems, and they haven't been able to actually fix the problems yet. But
Well, I mean, Scott Murphy, from my understanding, is still really sick from cancer and still in the hospital, so he's not even involved in it.
from what I hear, from what I've heard, it's I've heard from some people that are in the beta, it's technical issues. It's just technical issues at this point.
Yeah.
It's getting it to run properly and stuff like that. So it's not a writing problem or anything like that. It's just working out all the bugs, and there's some bugs that are just being a pain in the ass.
I was watching all these old videos on YouTube of YouTubers redoing classic Sierra game themes in like heavy metal and stuff like that, and these are just like fans and everything, and I swear to God, for almost every single video, the original game developer comments, top comment, and it's like, so somebody did a heavy metal, the Space Quest theme, and freaking Mark Crow leaves a comment. He's like, dude, that was amazing. I'm like, the fact that they're just creeping on, I don't know, I just find it funny that they're just like, well, let's go on YouTube today and look up my original theme for Space Quest and heavy metal, see what comes up.
Well, I mean, that's what I use for the intro for Pirates these days. Is a heavy metal version of the Monkey Island theme.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
If-
that's pretty badass.
If they do a metal version of the Leisure Suit Larry theme, is it going to become Meat Suit Larry? That's what I want to know.
I don't know how that would sound. It's supposed to be a
Technically, it
jazz
could still
theme.
be a leisure suit, depending on which style of metal they go with.
Meat Suit Larry. That's hilarious.
Unfortunately, the first thing that popped into my head.
I could not even begin to picture how that would sound as heavy metal, because it's supposed to be an old style jazz riff. I can't picture it.
So you put it in mathcore, it'll be fine.
I'll just have like AI generate it.
Hey there, Evie. We're actually just getting ready to wind down. We're just winding down for the night.
As you can tell by us saying Leisure Suit Larry and black metal.
That's so true. Come up with the most weirdest ideas when you're half asleep.
No, we're not half asleep. Me and Rask have crossed the other side of sleep.
No, I'm gonna be up for a little while yet. I I gotta get shit ready. So my parents are coming tomorrow to help me pack up the rest of my stuff because my leg is still fucked.
What do you mean,
So,
Ludwig? No. If you're gonna be changing names, it's definitely Leisure Suit Danzig. Thank you.
Leisure Suit Danzig?
Yeah.
No. You have to keep the alliteration.
Do you though?
Yes. Because at that point, if you're just gonna change the name and lose the alliteration, then I mean, you can change it to whatever you want. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer.
I mean, we're
Leisure
already
Suit Lemmy.
changing it to metal.
Laser Shoot Lemmy. Now it's still metal.
It's
And
Leisure Suit
sacrilegious.
Lemmy? Oh my god.
It's sacrilegious.
Oh my god.
You would play it nonetheless. So would I.
I would probably play it, yes.
Yes. There we go.
Except for the
All right.
fact that we would never believe that Lemmy has any trouble getting women.
That's true. That's
All
very
right.
true.
Well, I'm gonna be heading to bed. So you guys want to say your good nights?
I have
Absolutely.
nightmares about Leisure Suit Lemmy.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I will not be streaming anything anytime soon because I'm in the middle of moving. But as soon as I am in my new place, I will be back with the podcast and the parts of the Vortex podcast and my live streams. So I'll see you soon.
Tune in to Den of the Bullfox on next Tuesday at, what do we say? We're going to do 8 p.m. again?
Yeah, 8 p.m.
8
Central
Central.
Time.
Yep, 8 p.m. Central, 9 EST for another episode of Leverage. And we are thinking of possibly doing this bi-weekly until we said mid-May.
I think so. Yeah,
That sound about right?
six storylines.
Yeah. So come in and see what shenanigans we get up to.
Tomorrow night, Over the Edge on community radio for East Central Illinois, 90 FM, WEFT Champaign. Streaming online at new.weft.org/listen.
Oh, good. He remembered that he needs to be closer to the mic for it to not cut out.
Yeah. Still,
Just for
it
that
still
last-
does not like the F's. It does not like the W-E-X-T.
I just want
It's like-
to point out that I've been here this entire time and Olav has still yet to put up my portrait.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Who needs a picture?
I'm
You
officially
are the
protesting.
Orville now.
You're officially protesting. You can protest right up until you're done moving. How about that?
There we go.
All right.
Well,
And
none
I'll
of
go
this
ahead and do...
works. Remember, he said Canada has cut all ties to America, so he's just
true.
refusing to let us use the
Here we
image.
go.
Yeah, he's not even bothering to show up in his portrait. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to do my outro. So, as always, guys, thanks for being here, and I'll see
No
you next
problem.
time.
Take
Yeah.
care.
As always, thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new here, don't forget to press the subscribe button. If you want to be kept up to date of when we go live and stuff like that, make sure to ring the bell, but also check out the social media links down below. That's our Facebook page, our Twitter account, our Tumblr account, our Blue Sky account, and our permanent invite for our Discord server. You'll also find the link to Rasclin's show tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Central Time. I try to make sure to notify you guys of when we go live and stuff like that. For example, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time, we're going to be doing some more of Dark Tales, Premature Burial. And then tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Time, we're going to be back with more Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. All that so that you can stay tuned for more from Ollamhproductions. Cheerio.